Should Alex Cora be fired if the Boston Red Sox miss the playoffs?
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Maljanian, former ESPN social media associate and currently the host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part, it's all completely free. So make sure you tune in because Locked On is your team every single day. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5-h-e-win.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Sounds cool, right? I will definitely talk to you a little bit about it more on today's show. But as the Red Sox are in a period of struggle right now, they also look to maintain their status as a wild card team. Their chances of making the playoffs are slipping because the American League is so tight right now that a lot of teams are vying for spots still and have a legitimate chance. Red Sox have a big series coming up against the Yankees that I'm going to be talking about a little bit on today's show, as well as a key pitcher who's returning to the Major League team. But when everyone thinks about the Red Sox and their struggles as of late, who do they pinpoint and point to immediately when things aren't going right? If your answer to that is the manager, you are correct. The manager is the first person that everybody looks to blame when things are not going right for a team. And rightfully so. I mean, the manager is the one who runs the entirety of the team and makes sure that the day-to-day operations of the baseball team are going well. However, people overestimate how much of a responsibility the manager actually has. Alex Cora's job is to manage the baseball team on a day-to-day basis. That includes on the field and off the field. Should Alex Cora be fired if the Boston Red Sox do not make the playoffs this season? The answer to that question is definitely a very complex one, and there are people out there who would immediately say, yes, he should. My answer to that is no, he should not be. And here's why. Because you can think about Alex Cora and the way that he manages his Boston Red Sox team. Very analytically driven, just like Craig Breslow is. And have you ever thought about the fact that Alex Cora is getting that from the higher-ups? That the higher-ups are feeding this information to him of wanting him to manage in an analytical manner? That's a huge possibility and something that a lot of people are failing to think about when it comes to this whole situation with Alex Cora. Yes, he's an analytically driven manager. You think about the number of times where he's pulled a pitcher who is pitching well because analytically it says that another pitcher would be better for the matchup. So, for example, if there's a reliever he's putting into the game because he wants a lefty-lefty matchup, he'll pull his starting pitcher or the reliever that pitched before him every time so that he can get that right matchup in there instead of having a feel for the game. So, for example, if a starter is pitching really well, I'll use Lucas Giolito as an example. If he's throwing the ball really well and he goes out there and he's continuing to crush it and the entirety of the opposing team's lineup has gone 0-for-2 against him. Maybe he's given up a walk or has not been overly sharp, but the top of the lineup hasn't been able to see him that well. And say he comes back out there and is going to pitch to the top of the lineup, but then Alex Cora pulls him because, the team's best hitter, who's a lefty, is coming up. So he wants a left-handed pitcher to fit that matchup. And it ends up backfiring on the Red Sox. Then you can directly point to that being Alex Cora's fault, that he didn't have a feel for the game. And he gambled on putting in the pitcher who was right for the matchup at the time. Then keeping the pitcher in who had been cruising through. You can even think about Kevin Cash when he pulled Blake Snell in the World Series against the Dodgers, when he was completely shutting down the Dodgers lineup. And as soon as he got pulled, the Dodgers started plowing right back and ended up winning that game and ultimately the series. And people were mad because they were saying, why would you pull Blake Snell when he was dominating the Dodgers? And it's because the analytics told Kevin Cash you should pull him at that time. So my biggest critique of Alex Cora is that with his in-game management, he's a little too analytically driven and isn't as willing to have a feel for the game. So for example, with the play on Tuesday night against the Orioles, when Kyle Hudson decided to hold Nate Eaton at third base rather than sending him home on the fly ball to Colton Cowser, Alex Cora's response was, we scouted him before the series, we did our research, and we decided he wasn't somebody we were going to challenge. Well, that's a very political answer because he didn't want to throw his third base coach under the bus. It also reflects on the fact that Alex Cora isn't as willing to see and go off of what's actually happening at the time in the game. So, for example, in that specific instance, the Red Sox offense was having so much trouble scoring and was 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. So when you're struggling to score runs with somebody on third base and you're in the bottom of the 11th inning and you're down by a run, you need to take a chance there, especially with Nate Eaton, who's fast as the runner on third base, who you literally just put in as a pinch runner. You have to take the chance there. And it's just another example of Alex Cora going off of his advanced research and analytics and not actually managing the game for what it is and going off of decisions that are happening in game. That's my biggest critique of Alex Cora. But as far as him as an overall manager, he manages the team very well off the field. And that's something that not a lot of people would know unless you actually speak with the players on a regular basis about how they feel about their manager. And from the players that I have spoken to, they would go to bat for Alex Cora, and you don't find a lot of players who feel that strongly about it. And when you have a manager who all the players are absolutely in love with, you could seriously destroy that chemistry if you were to bring in a new manager. And with a team that has a lot of young players, having a manager who's really good at connecting with the players seems crucial and very much necessary for a team like that. So if I am the Red Sox, I'm happy that they extended Alex Cora because, yes, no manager is perfect, and he does do some things in terms of his in-game management that are questionable, but these guys would absolutely go to bat for their manager. And on the same topic of his on-the-field management, the team needs to perform. Alex Cora isn't the one that left the bases loaded for 3 straight innings on Tuesday night. That's on the players for not being able to do their job. The offense needs to come through. The players are getting paid to drive in runs. And if they're not, how is that always Alex Cora's fault? It's just not. And you can argue that he has too much loyalty to some players. Abraham Toro for sure is one of those players. They had Willie Abreu off the bench who could have come in to pinch hit in a bases loaded situation for Abraham Toro in extra innings on Tuesday night. And that didn't happen, but the Red Sox organization had decided before the game that they wanted to have Willie Abreu completely healthy and available for the Yankees series, so they knew he was not going to be available in that game regardless. So who is Alex Cora to say, I don't care what the front office thinks, I'm going to put Abreu in to pinch hit here? You could say that he could go against what the predetermined scenario was, but it's a lot easier said than done to just say he should do that. These are the people that he works for. And if they are telling him, we need to make sure Willie Abreu doesn't take any reps because we want him completely healthy for the weekend, then you do that. And I do feel like in some ways, Alex Cora has really botched certain in-game scenarios, as in not wanting to bunt in extra innings. Recently, he has decided a little bit more to utilize that strategy because he had realized that by not bunting people over, it was harming the team as a whole. And he realized that they were losing a lot of extra inning games because of his refusal to bunt over the ghost runner to start the inning. because he was trying to score 2 runs instead of 1. And he trusts his players, which is really cool, but almost to a fault because he sometimes trusts them too much. So in that situation, that's an example of him trusting a little bit too much that his guys are going to come through, as opposed to really feeling out the situation and saying, okay, we can play small ball because we have some speed on this roster, so we should bunt this guy over. So that's another big critique of Alex Cora. So you can look at all of that as a whole with the in-game management, and you could say, okay, he's not perfect for sure, but it's really not possible to say that the manager can single-handedly lose you games when the players are the ones that have to perform. The players are the ones that strand base runners. The players are the ones who go out there, and if they can't throw strikes, they can't throw strikes. That's on them. It's on the coaches around him to improve their specific position groups on a day-to-day basis. And if a team is going to bat for its manager, you don't fire him. So is Alex Cora to blame for the team's slump as of late? Yes, everybody deserves some blame. But no, it's not fully Alex Cora's fault. It's not even actually close to being fully Alex Cora's fault, because what you need to remember here is that it's a team effort. And while Alex Cora might make a decision that ends up being a mistake at the time, your players also have to do their job. And the Red Sox players simply have not been doing their job as of late. And you look at the bullpen and the way that they've fallen apart as of late, and that's not Alex Cora's fault because it's the arms that he's been given. His bullpen has not been good over the last few seasons, and it has been good this year, so it has made his job a little bit easier when it comes to managing the bullpen. But you have to look at the full picture and not be so narrow-minded by saying it's the manager's fault, because in this situation, it really is not fully Alex Cora's fault. And because I've been around the players and I've spoken with some of them, I know that they'd go to bat for this man. So do not fire Alex Cora. But they do need to make the playoffs. And coming up, they are bringing back a player from AAA who they're hoping can help them do that. I know that it's hard sometimes to manage all of your financial accounts, and it can be really difficult to keep track of what you're actually spending. That's why Monarch Money exists, because Monarch Money is here to save your life and track all of your finances in one place so that you can easily see things and identify what you're spending too much of. It actually helped me identify too many streaming services I was using, so I was able to cut down on those, and it saved me a lot of money. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. It's a great way to keep track of everything you're spending so you're not having useless spending on things you don't actually need. The Boston Red Sox are in a crucial part of their schedule. And I mean crucial. Because where they are at right now, they are at the point where they are basically backed against a wall. They have to win games, because their wild card chances are slipping back because they are not performing as of late and other teams are. And at the trade deadline, the Red Sox didn't make as many moves as other American League teams did. And now they're at a point where they have to prove themselves even more. So all of that taken into account, the Boston Red Sox need to step up and they need to win games for the rest of the season. And the bullpen, which certainly as of late has not really been helping them to do that, is about to get a reinforcement. The Red Sox have recalled Richard Fitts back up from AAA Worcester. Reliever Isaiah Campbell was optioned in the move because he was, for lack of a better word, useless in the majors. The Red Sox had a 7-2 lead over the weekend, and he was pitching and he gave up 3 runs, forcing them to go to Aroldis Chapman in a game they really should not have had to go to Aroldis Chapman in. And he has had too many chances to be able to perform at the major league level, and he hasn't been able to do it. So the Red Sox finally said, all right, you're going back to Worcester. We're bringing Richard Fitts up. Fitts is supposed to be active for the series in the Bronx that starts tonight. And the plan is for Richard Fitts, who has started all 17 games that he has pitched this year across 3 levels, to join the bullpen. This move comes as the Red Sox reassess their pitching staff in total leading up to the final 6 weeks of the season, with the team determined to assemble the best 13 arms possible. And they are willing to try Richard Fitts in the pen and see if it works out for him. There's also been discussions about Walker Buehler and how long they're going to stick with him in the rotation. He is tentatively scheduled to pitch on Monday night in Baltimore, but the Red Sox have been reassessing his rotation spot and might further do so after his Tuesday night performance. So Fitz would be an option to just slide back into the rotation, but also if they wanted to have Fitz stay in the pen, they could call up Kyle Harrison or Cooper Criswell to take Buehler's spot. So there are options. Fitz was slated to start tonight for the Woo Sox, and it's really unclear if the Red Sox would consider Walker Buehler in the bullpen right now or just simply move on from him if they unplugged him from the rotation, but nothing has been finalized on that, probably because they want to see how Fitz does in the bullpen first. Fitz has never pitched in relief in the majors. All 14 of his outings are starts, and he has made 17 starts this year. 10 in the majors, 6 at AAA, and 1 rehab outing at AA. He has pitched in relief just once as a professional in 94 outings. He followed opener Bailey Horn in a 4 1/3 inning relief appearance on May 11th, 2024 for Worcester. He did pitch in both the rotation and bullpen during 3 collegiate seasons at Auburn from 2019 to 21. So he doesn't really have a lot of relief experience, which is why this could go either way for the Red Sox. It could be a situation where it's a huge win for them because they find a secret weapon and a hidden gem of somebody who could unlock his best potential out of the bullpen, or it could go south because he's not used to pitching in the pen. He's used to starting, so then it doesn't go well for the Red Sox and ends up backfiring. So it could potentially go either of those two ways here. For now, the Red Sox will bring him back as a bullpen option in hopes that his high-octane stuff, which does include a fastball that has averaged 95.7 miles per hour in the majors this year, can play up in shorter stints. He'll join Jordan Hicks, Garrett Whitlock, and Greg Weiser as right-handers in a mix that also includes 4 lefties of Brennan Bernardino, Steven Matz, Justin Wilson, and Aroldis Chapman. Boston is also awaiting the return of righty setup option Justin Slayton, who did make his first rehab appearance in Worcester on Tuesday night. He looked awesome. He struck out the side on just 15 pitches. Because he has missed nearly 3 months with a shoulder issue, the team doesn't want to rush him back and cut his rehab assignment short. It's expected that he makes at least a couple more rehab outings before returning, which definitely makes sense. Definitely don't want to rush him back and then have him be unavailable for the playoffs. You'd rather have him take his time, make it work with what you have now, and then bring him back for a potential late season playoff push. The 25-year-old Fitz owns a 4.83 ERA in 41 major league innings this season, and he did struggle in his final 3 starts before being demoted on July 29th, logging a 5.54 ERA in 13 innings. He allowed 2 runs on 5 hits in 5 innings in Iowa in his last start with the Woo Sox on Friday night, and the Red Sox chose to call him back up over other 40-man options like Zach Kelly and Cooper Criswell, who have both been pitching well as of late. And I think it's because they want to see what the future looks like for Fitz. Is he somebody who could fit into the future of this team? And if so, is he somebody who could pitch out of the pen? And is that an option longer term? And they also aren't necessarily confident in Cooper Criswell's ability to pitch effectively out of the pen. He has been much better as a starter for the Red Sox, but when pitching out of the pen, he hasn't exactly been up to par with what the Red Sox are looking for. So in that regard, they are definitely trying to take a chance on Fitz instead because they just feel like there's something there that they can work with for him to pitch out of the pen. Isaiah Campbell, it was a long time coming for him to go back down. He has a 7.04 ERA in 7 2/3 MLB innings in 6 games this year. He allowed 3 runs on 4 hits and failed mop-up duty in the 9th inning Saturday, indirectly leading to Sunday's loss by forcing Aroldis Chapman to pitch on Saturday and not being available on Sunday. So it was only a matter of time before the Red Sox sent him back down. And it'll be interesting because with the fact that the Red Sox haven't used Richard Fitz in relief, he is going to have to adjust to the idea of pitching in the bullpen. His warm-up routine is going to change. The way that he goes about his pitches is going to change because he's pitching for a shorter period of time. So you'll probably see a lot more of him throwing his dominant fastball as opposed to forcing himself to try to work in more off-speed pitches because of the fact that he's not pitching in the rotation. So because of that, and because of the fact that he has a really strong fastball that could play, he could actually find a lot of success in the pen, because one of the reasons why he was struggling as a starter in the majors was because his off-speed stuff wasn't always up to par. And if your off-speed stuff is significantly weaker, it's incredibly difficult to succeed as a starting pitcher because opposing hitters are going to be able to figure you out faster. And that's a lot of the problems he was running into. And it's also one of the biggest reasons why he wasn't really pitching deep into games when he was starting, because of the fact that he was not necessarily up to par in terms of his pitch arsenal. So if he's pitching out of the pen, for example, a 1 or 2 inning guy out of the bullpen, he doesn't need to have as many pitches up his sleeve because of the fact that he's pitching for a shorter period of time. So the hitters won't have to see him 2 or 3 times through like they would a starter. So they don't have as much of an opportunity to really figure him out, which would allow him to really be able to hone in on that fastball a little bit more. So this could potentially be an upgrade from what we saw from Isaiah Campbell, because Isaiah Campbell just wasn't cutting it anymore. But the reasoning for bringing up Richard Fitts is because obviously the Red Sox feel like there's something there for them to unlock, and they are excited to see what that is and excited to really figure this out and figure out, okay, is he somebody we can use as a weapon down the road in the pen? And even if he comes up, pitches out of the bullpen, and doesn't throw well, the Red Sox could continue to work with him, maybe send him back down to work on things again, and then maybe they make another roster move and call somebody else back up. And that somebody else could be a guy like Chris Murphy or Cooper Criswell. They have options. So this is a risk that the Red Sox are taking by bringing Fitts back, but they knew that it was becoming increasingly more and more difficult to justify keeping Isaiah Campbell in the bullpen when he really hasn't provided a lot of positive value for this Red Sox team. So I like the move of sending Campbell down. Time will tell if having Richard Fitts pitch in the pen benefits him a little bit more, and it might, because the pressure of not being a starting pitcher might help him to focus more on his arsenal and what he can bring to the table. So I definitely am open to seeing him out of the bullpen, because if he pitches really well, they'll make him a more permanent piece of the bullpen moving forward. So hopefully it works out, but the Red Sox have a massive series coming up against the Yankees in which they cannot just sit back and fold. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit next. It's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. My husband is a huge golf guy, and he's always going out there in the blazing hot weather. These 5-Hour Energy Transfusion drinks have been an absolute lifesaver for him, and he continues to use them every time he's on the course. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the beverage cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5-e-win.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. What an opportunity that is. The Boston Red Sox are in a position now to where they cannot afford to go on a really bad stretch anymore. They've had some very bad stretches of baseball this year, and they are running out of time. They are getting to the point of their schedule in which they have to take advantage. after their road trip against the Padres and Astros, in which they really didn't perform that well, everybody was talking about how their schedule lightens up a little bit, and that included facing the Marlins and the Orioles at home. Both teams that have very much not been that good this year, and against a Red Sox team that has been good at home this year. So the fact that they could not take care of business and legitimately have a losing record in those games against those two teams is bad. 2-3 in 5 games against the Marlins and the Orioles. That just cannot happen. 3 straight losses. Tuesday night's loss being absolutely demoralizing. The Red Sox have a huge series now coming up in the Bronx. They cannot let themselves fold and go out there and lose all momentum. It's up to the veterans on this team to make sure that everybody stays on track and focused, moves on from what was a brutal loss, and continues to go out there and perform at their best every single day. And that starts with the pitching matchup that the Red Sox will have out there against the Yankees. Lucas Giolito is scheduled to pitch the opening game on Thursday night, with Brian Bayo slated to go Friday night, Garrett Crochet on Saturday, and Dustin May on Sunday. That is the steadiest group of starters that the Red Sox could possibly trot out there right now based on recent form. They know that this series is imminent and huge for them to maintain their status as a wild card team. Giolito and Bayo have both been pitching very well for the Red Sox this year. Garrett Crochet kind of goes without saying. He is the ace. They absolutely have to win with Crochet on the mound. The last time he pitched against the Yankees, he did struggle a little bit. He got unlucky to a degree, but he still recorded a bunch of strikeouts. So we need the dominant version of Garrett Crochet that we're used to seeing. Dustin May struggled his first time out there, but looked really good in his last couple starts for the Red Sox. So we just need to see more of that, of him having a good outing so that he can go out there and get the Red Sox a win. And with Lucas Giolito and Brian Bayo out there, obviously those are two pitchers that you feel confident in when they go out there, but you do know that there is a chance that at any time, more so with Giolito, that he could just completely crumble. And that luckily hasn't been the case, but they have to all be durable. This is the best group of starters they could possibly go out there with. These are guys that we have seen that we trust as starters to get the job done. And if you want to be a playoff team, you cannot go to the Bronx and lose 3 of 4. You cannot go to the Bronx with your bats completely dead. You have to go out there swinging, and you have to make a statement that you still belong in that wild card picture. And when you look at the pitchers you have out there, you feel like you can trust those guys, but the question is, can you trust every other aspect of the Red Sox roster? Because we've seen the offense struggle as of late. We've seen the bullpen not be able to do its job. So the starting pitchers can only get you so far. Everybody has to step up. It has to be an all hands on deck effort, and they do kind of have to win this series against the Yankees because they could gain significant ground on them and gain significant ground in the wild card in general and distance themselves from other teams that are in the wild card race that might not quite be in a spot right now, but are only a couple games out. The Red Sox need to get themselves separated from those types of teams. And in order to do that, they have to win this series. The Yankees have not set their rotation fully for the series yet. But if they continue the way they have, the Red Sox are likely to see Louis Heel on Thursday, followed by Max Fried, Will Warren, and Carlos Rodon. I mean, that's tough. I mean, Max Fried is tough, as is Louis Heel. So they need to be on their A game to beat these guys. The Red Sox currently right now lead the season series 5-1 against the Yankees. They took 2 of 3 in New York in June, and then they swept the Yankees at Fenway a week later. So they need to absolutely get back on track right now, and quieting the Yankees in New York would be a great momentum boost moving forward. The Red Sox do have a comfortable but not insurmountable cushion in the wildcard standings right now. So a strong performance over the weekend would put them back up over the Yankees and extend the gap from teams like Cleveland, as I mentioned before. While catching Toronto atop the division is probably likely not going to happen, putting the Yankees in a precarious spot is more attainable in the near term, and it would kind of help the Red Sox feel a little bit more secure in where they are at. So the starters need to do their job, and they have been, but it's a matter of the bats waking back up again in the Bronx and not letting Tuesday night's demoralizing loss bring them down too much, because this is such a crucial series that they absolutely have to win. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. The Yankees are playing good baseball right now. The Red Sox, you can't really say the same for. So got to go in there and get that momentum back. Do not roll over and let them pounce all over you. Do not let that happen. So we'll see what happens now it goes down, but thank you for tuning in to Locked On Red Sox and making it your first listen of every day. Next, be sure to check out Locked On MLB Game Night, which is available on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's our local experts here at Locked On talking about every game, every single night, all the way up until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. So it'll keep you updated on all games that have gone on, so you don't have to scroll through your ESPN app to find out. So make sure you check out that show next. And like I always say, try your best, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I'll catch you on the flip side.